play. The quality of the audio is as good as phone quality, and I mean landline phone. But in addition, it's directional. So if I'm standing here virtually, and Pi is there, and Greg is there, and Pi speaks, I hear him on this side. And remember, we're in different parts of the world. This directional, I mean, when you're in a virtual conference room and you're around the table, you can close your eyes and you can feel the location of every person that's speaking. It's called directional audio, and it's a really nice feature. It really adds to the sense of presence. By the way, one of the things that's missing here, and it's also missing in video conferencing, is eye contact. And I can look you in the eye, and we can, we have, what is it called? Mutual gaze. And that's in very, you all know if you're teachers, somebody's sort of dazing off, you look at them until you get their eye contact and you bring them back. That doesn't work yet. There's many people that have realized this problem and are trying to figure it out. That doesn't work yet. On the other hand, a big difference between, now these are cartoon characters. They're not as real, obviously not as realistic as video conferencing. But one of the things in video conferencing is I see you, you see me, but we do not share a space. Here, we share a space. I can pick this up, put it here, and Pi virtually can pick it up and move it and turn it around. We can manipulate, even though we're separated, we can manipulate the same object. You saw at the beginning, they were playing a game of dominoes. And I had them, you could see each of them watching the other. So they're playing a game of dominoes together. This sense of having a shared physical space contributes to the sense of presence. Yes?
I was wondering, once this play is created like this, that is completeness and
No, people, the thing is, it's so easy to change these things. I had Greg start a project. You see this kind of wood thing? We got him started. He was going to try to recreate this room, just as kind of a demo. So he's in the process of building this little amphitheater. It's not going to look quite like this room because the constructs, the so-called primitives that you have to work with, making these broad, gentle curves is a little bit tricky. But he's going to make an amphitheater, and he's going to present. He's going to present my PowerPoints in this virtual world. Now, we're doing that today, and maybe next week we take it down and we start doing something else. I have had the last class I had last spring, at FIU we have lots of second-generation Latinos. They come from all parts. Either they come directly or they come with family memories of their home cultures. So the project was an international expo. And we took our island and we divided it into, how many lots did we have? 10? 10. And so we had one for Mexico, one for Central America, there are lots of Cubans, one for Cuba, one for Haiti, Venezuela, Brazil, we actually had one for Florida. We had one person in the class that was actually considered himself native Florida. And each one built up their own, what they would consider, like an expo of what they wanted to show off about their culture. Positive and in some cases negative. So in some cultures there were some political problems and things like that, and they brought that up. So at the end, this was on our island. So what you see on our island now is what we have put up since then. And you can take things, the other part is there's a notion of inventory. So, for instance, this building right here, when we decide we don't want it anymore, we put it in inventory. You just put it back, it goes away. And then later, we want to bring it back, you bring it back. So, it isn't that you have to trash these things, that you just have, it's like closet space. You've got a very large closet space, and you can put things away and take them out later. So these things, like Amsterdam, the first version of Amsterdam that brought a lot of visitors is they had a virtual version of the red light district. And apparently that brought some criticism or something like that. So suddenly the red light district disappeared. And also, Amsterdam changed hands several times. So the owner, the original developer, eventually sold it to somebody else, and then sold it to somebody else, and then they made decisions about what to keep, what to improve, what to change. All right. To give you a preview or give you an idea of the message that we'd like to convey, people also make little movies. And like I had one student in the class, he came from Iran, and he gave us this example. He said, you know, when I talk about culture, I'm talking about sort of the ordinary things in life. Like when I was in Holland, we were sitting, I had a research group there, and one guy was bent over and he was tying his shoe, and he pulled on it, and the shoelace broke. And he went, oh, no. And we all understood what he meant, because none of us knew where to buy a shoelace. You know, in our home culture, you would know that kind of thing. But in Holland, the stores were defined differently, and there's no such thing as a drugstore. They had a pharmacy, but then you only get prescriptions there, and then a drogist was something where you get hairspray and things like that, but they wouldn't have shoelaces. Now, in this case, the fellow from Iran had this kind of problem with Starbucks. He went in, he wanted coffee, but he looked and he didn't understand the words, he didn't understand the protocol, and he ended up leaving because he didn't get it. How many of you have lived in another culture? How many of you have experienced what I'm talking about? Like the sense of being strange just for the simple, ordinary things. Now, this kind of acculturation sort of thing could be done, we believe, quite effectively in this technology. So here's a little video we put together about the Starbucks. Check the audio. There you go. So they're walking down our island. This is very
Look up there is a Starbucks. I have heard that it's a really cheap place. They have international coffee and fancy and sweet. Let us go and try out.
Okay, I really want to.
This is pie.
No.
I don't feel like coffee. I have a little food. Would you buy one for me?
I want a coffee with whipped cream or with stuff on top.
This is our name. This is what you want there.
I don't understand all of which. Can you tell me which one is the one with whipped cream stuff on top?
Coffee latte has no. You want that?
Is that okay?
Okay, I think that's it. I'll have that.
That's me. That's my other ego. That's my other persona. And I'm not being macho.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that's what I wanted. Why did you not buy me that?
Why didn't you tell me about that one?
I don't know you got that. Why did not say so?
this is just a little video, so we're trying to put together, this is sort of a demo of the kind of, watching it as a video, it's sort of like watching television. I mean, we sort of package together the point, but what's more important here is that you can get your students to experience it. You have, imagine your students playing these roles. Now they might play the roles, now here, coming back to the possible applications. Think about the application, say, to cultural diversity. You have, people are used to being in their own nationality, right? Or their own social class, or their own skin color.